family for a Friday night dinner, and she stood up. No one asked her to speak. She stood up on her own with her own volition, and she started telling these harrowing stories of surviving these concentration camps. And everyone around the table was teary-eyed, and we couldn't believe what she was telling us. And then something really remarkable happened, because it's almost like someone flipped a switch, because she was dancing, she was singing, she was playing with the children, and she really just was the sort of life of the party. She brightened up the room. And I remember thinking from a very young age, I must have been about 14 at the time, and I thought to myself, how can someone who's been through such darkness live a life with such zest and almost light up all of our lives? So that really caught my attention from a young age, and from that moment on, I knew I had to befriend her and get to know her. And
at that point, you were to her, you were whom? You were a friend of the family.
I was a friend of the family, yes. Okay. So I was a friend of the family, but we built this relationship, and over the years I would go visit her, and for another project I went and recorded bits and pieces of her story, and we developed a beautiful relationship. And then in 2019, and then in 2019 she was turning 98, and I thought, it's really, this documentary's been a long time coming, and I managed to convince her. And I thought it was now or never. It was like sort of the golden opportunity.
Right.
And so we went.
You said the birthday party being the moment when she reveals a lot of stuff.
Yes, exactly. It was a beautiful, intimate moment with the family, and it was an incredible opportunity just to be a fly on the wall and to be able to watch things unfold.
Right. And the family, her family, the sons, the daughters. I mean, there's a lot of family there. I can't keep track of everyone. But everyone was game for this?
Yes, very much so. And I think for them, that they also just got to hear certain stories that they never heard before, and also got to ask, sort of in-depth questions. I think sometimes when it's so close to you, you don't necessarily engage too much on it. So this almost like allowed them a sort of safe space to engage and to ask questions, which was also just so fascinating to hear from the family.
Yeah, no, and then, but I liked also the way it wasn't just, well, it was, of course, the story, and then the animation part of it that, fills in the blanks, which I thought was very well done. In fact, I would say it's brilliant, because it's very hard to, everybody has seen all these Nazi movies with the stock footage, which is always gruesome. And I think what you did is I don't want to say you lightened it, but you put it in a digestible form, which I think was really good. And whoever came up with that, are you the animator as well?
No, so we found a local animator that we worked with.
Yes.
But it's funny, because we didn't initially start with that idea. We actually, we started to work with some of the footage we had of Ella telling her stories. And I think just the way she tells them so vividly, you almost feel like you're there with her. Right. And we thought, experimenting with the stock footage, we thought it's not sort of gelling the two. And that's where we started to explore animation. And we thought it was just a beautiful way to actually bring the audience on this journey with her. And, to sort of see everything that she's been through. Because even just the way she describes it, I remember her describing the Warsaw Ghetto, saying that the smell of the burning feathers is forever in her nostrils, and the sight of the burning ghetto is forever in her mind, in front of her in her mind. So, it's like those type of things, to be able to also walk along with her and see those descriptive things, for us, we thought was just a really important thing to do.
To be able to talk to someone also, may I add, who actually lived through the Warsaw Ghetto and that terrible, I mean, just the rushes, some of the stock footage, you showed in that part it's just hard to deal with. Except we find ourselves in a time where we're sort of reliving Warsaw. I mean, I don't want to cry, but I'm spending a lot of time crying at my advanced age, but it's because of the footage that you see on CNN. I can't sleep anymore because I'm watching this war and all these innocent people get killed for no reason whatsoever. It's just, how does it make you feel? I mean, how do you respond?
I just think it really just shows the important, you know, a lot of people have said to us, why another Holocaust film, and why are you making this documentary? And I think it's just what we're seeing playing out in front of us is that people have not learned from the horrors of history. You
No,
know,
no.
people, there's still so much hate in the world. And I think if people could really just take a page out of Ella's book, her optimism, her messages of tolerance and love and understanding, then I think this world will just be such an incredible place to be in. So yeah, just it's been a crazy time watching everything, you know, that we're seeing in the news. It's almost like watching World War II playing out in color before our eyes.
Has this changed? This is more of a commercial question. You may not be able to answer, but has the ambience of our times and this war and these the killing of innocent people, has this changed the way you're going to bring out this movie? Has it modified your plans?
Not really. At the moment, not really. But I think just talking to you now, I just think that, you know, the relevance of this film, it's in these times that we're experiencing now, it almost like in my mind shoots up, because the world needs to see a film like this, and, you know, love and understanding needs to be spread on, you know, to almost to the masses. So I think it's definitely something that we can, as the team, discuss going forward.
I think it would be wise to discuss it. While you take a drink of water, I just want to say again, this is Cinemonde number 81. My name is Jerry Rudis. I created Cinemonde as a way of promoting interesting, provocative films. We're honored to have Jordy Sank here from South Africa. Are you in Joburg or are you in Cape Town?
I'm in Joburg.
Joburg. I have been there. I loved it. I had a great time in South Africa. I loved it. What a beautiful country with a lot of, I'm not going to talk about the problems, but hey, it's a beautiful place. This is now to all our people who are out there listening to this. If you have questions, please send them to me for Jordy, and I will ask him the good ones. The bad ones, I'll just file away in the bad question drawer. Okay, I'm just looking to see what's out there. One question that came up while we were waiting for you is, can you talk about sort of a general question of what's it like making a film in South Africa? I mean, there's studios, you have equipment, you have everything. I visited one of the studios when I was there, and everybody had a very sophisticated equipment.
No, there's really a fantastic film industry in South Africa, and especially places like Cape Town. It's known to be an international sort of destination for films around the world. They come to South Africa to film series, to film features.
Yes.
You know, I think for many reasons it's cheap to film here. You get
Cheap,
amazing,
absolutely, yes.
And the landscapes, especially in Cape Town, the landscapes, if you want to see a sort of desert and mountain, it's all, you know, in quite a relatively short. So the film industry here is really incredible, and I think it really is, just over the years, from what I've seen, it's really, it's, you know, it's developing incredibly.
I met, but just as a little anecdote, I met Steven Seagal there. He was shooting one of his adventure movies. There's a big studio. I believe it's outside of Joburg. We had to take a car out to it. And they, you know, Steven Seagal, the international, whatever, adventure star, is very nice. And they were shooting in the studio. They had, you know, decor, costumes, the whole thing. What about your movie, though? Your movie is a little different. Your movie has a lot of editing work. Once you had the footage of Ella, how did you, well, you explained the birthday party of 98 years old. Was there anything else that helped you come up with a storyline or how to put it together?
So, yeah, I think, you know, as documentaries go, it all kind of happens in phases, you know. So we took, you know, we took an initial testimony of Ella that was, you know, when we cut it down to just the sort of stories, it was around 7 hours long.
Wow.
Sort of encapsulating her whole life story.
Right.
And then it was almost us whittling it down to, how can we fit this into just over an hour? What are the key stories? How do we create sort of a narrative arc around her key stories? And then it was also just going back and forth. So we were editing, then we were going back to film with her, then we were going back to editing, and it was just sort of on the go, figuring out, okay, well, now we sort of dealing with a theme of her being, I'll give you an example, that the tea bag, there's the scene in the
Right.
film where
Used it 5 times, 5 cups of tea.
5 cups of tea with 1 tea bag, and when we started to explore the themes of what does it mean to be frugal, and why is she she wasn't just born frugal, why is she that way? Then we sort of kept going back and forth, and we found a lot of things relating to that theme. So it really just wasn't, the editing probably was a full year and a half on and off, as we went back and forward, shooting with her, working on the animation, sort of placing it within the timeline, and seeing how the documentary flowed. So yeah. So
tell us about, Jordy, tell us about yourself, about when you met, from the time you met her at 14 years old. Tell us about your education. Did you go to filmmaking school?
Yes, so I went to a filmmaking school, a local one in Cape Town, South Africa. So I was there for 3 years, did a degree. Then I moved up to Johannesburg, and I worked in a sort of commercial advertising production company here, doing big budget ads. And then when I decided to leave that job, I thought, that was when I approached Ella, and I thought this is the perfect time to do this documentary. So, and also
this is your first feature film.
First feature film. I think, I could have sort of done this, did this project when I left university, but I also felt like I needed to, as a filmmaker, I needed to get this experience, I needed to grow. And then leaving that job, I felt like the time was right. And I was ready to tackle and do justice to Ella's story.
There's a thank you, I believe, to some sort of Holocaust. You got funding, I noticed, from some sort of Holocaust organization. Could you remind us of what that is?
Yes, it's called the Claims Conference, and they support art and film relating to the Holocaust. One of the major works that they supported was the Oscar-winning film Son of Saul. So they also received backing from the Claims Conference, and working with them has been such a pleasure.
Right.
And yeah, we were honored to receive backing from the organization. So a huge thank you to them.
You've obviously, thank you for telling us about that. You've obviously shown this movie to Ella. What did she say when she saw it?
So she,
But first of all, did she see it by herself or with an audience?
So the first time she saw it was with her family, the family that she's staying at now. And she, it's, I think for us as filmmakers, and for me being so close to Ella, one of the scariest things for me is is Ella going to like the film, and is she going to feel like we've done her life story justice? Right. And for me, that was the most gratifying thing, hearing her response to the film. She absolutely loves the film, and she's so happy because she understands that that it's almost like it's forever, it's eternal, it's going to be there, and it can really educate the next few generations on what happened to her.
I hope so. I hope this film gets shown a lot of places. It's a perfect film for all these cable networks, and the time is right. Can we talk about the niece who owes her life to Ella? And I mean, they were out there together. The niece went a whole different direction, I see, to New York, and had a whole family there. Her name is Rome, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Have you met her personally, or is it all done by telephone?
So I was only able to ever speak with her over the phone. And there is the scene in the film where Ella speaks to her on
the iPhone.
Yes. So it was moments like that, speaking to her and her son, in preparation and for that segment of the film. But unfortunately, about a month ago, we received news that she had passed away.
Oh,
Roma.
I didn't know that. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So it's been incredibly hard on Ella, who, you know, it was the only real family member that she had left.
She was
So,
a little younger. I assume she was a niece. She must have been, how old was
Mm.
she when she passed away?
I believe she was about 95.
That's
So,
it's pretty good. I think we all like to reach 95. That's pretty good.
Mm.
I didn't know. And of course, you don't say anything in the movie about it. So,
Well, the movie was
That's
actually
right.
completed last year. I think it was completed last year, January, the movie. So yeah, it's fairly recent, the passing of Roma.
Okay. If anyone out there has questions for Jordy, we have to, I know he has another appointment at exactly at noon or noon New York time. I know you have to go, so we're going to end this right on the button, even if we started late. So if you have questions, you know, I always ask people to ask questions, and they ask all their questions at the very end, you know, because they're embarrassed. Anyway, please put your questions down and send them to me. And in the meantime, we'll keep talking. So Jordy, what's next for you now after this movie's going to get out and have a life? It's like a baby, you know, it's born and then it has a life of its own. Where are you headed toward, narrative film or only documentaries? What's your pleasure?
So yes, so the next project actually is narrative, and it's actually premiering. There's a festival in Cape Town, South Africa, and the film is completely different. It's actually in Afrikaans. For those of you that don't know, Afrikaans is one of the 11 official languages of South Africa. So
Right.
it's a film that's shot entirely in Afrikaans, a short film.
Wow.
And it's premiering at the festival. So that's the next project, and now we've got a few other narrative.
When is, excuse me, Joy, when is that festival?
It is the 22nd of March.
Oh, so this is coming up now.
Yes.
So you've got the other movie in the can. It's finished.
So it's finished. Yes.
Wow. And it's Afrikaan. Is it a musical? Is there any music attached to it? Is that what you're talking?
No. So it's a serious drama film. Sorry, one second.
Take your time.
It's a serious drama film. Actually, I guess it's somewhat inspired from working with Ella, but it's about sort of themes of loss and loneliness, and dealing with the passing of a loved one, with someone who's the lead actress was actually in her 70s at the time. So
do you have to subtitle the Afrikaner, or is everyone speaks it?
So everyone in the film spoke it, but there are subtitles on the film.
Good.
So yeah, we have entered it into. Hopefully, there'll be an opportunity around the world to see it. We have been entering it into short film festivals, and we're still waiting to hear back. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be an opportunity shortly.
Yeah, I worked on an Afrikaner film, by the way. Did you ever see this movie? It was the opera Carmen, but sung in Afrikaner. Did you ever see that?
No, I have not.
Anyway, that's why I went down there, was to work on that movie. But anyway, that's another subject. Here's Myron in New York, who says, what did you learn, Jordy, from the experience of making this film? And did it change you in certain ways?
Sure.
Good question.
Very good question. So I think in two parts, I could answer that. The first part is, I think, you know, for me growing up, learning about the Holocaust, for me, it just sort of seemed like something in a textbook. You know, you're learning about the Holocaust, you know, one lesson, then the next lesson you're moving on to learning about something else. And you know, this really just opened my eyes to so many things in the Holocaust. And you know, I just hope that you know, the way that I've learned to and can really empathize to the Holocaust now, I really hope that comes through and is able to sort of penetrate the hearts of the viewers and all the audiences that watch the film. And then secondly, I think just meeting Ella, that is for me, and working with her on the film, that has been the most life-changing thing. It really just being around her, and it's really just changed my whole outlook on life. You know, I hope to be as zestful now as I am. I'm turning 30 this year. I hope to be as
Oh my
zestful.
God, Jordy, 30, man, you're getting old.
So yeah, I hope to be as zestful and have
Are you
an
worried?
incredible.
You're not worried about 30, I hope. No.
Yeah, I just, you know, at 30, I'm struggling to have a positive outlook on life like Ella does, let alone being 100 years old. So, you know, that's just something that I'm really trying to work on.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. On a more serious note, what are you saying, or what will you say? Are you prepared for those people who will come to see your film or will see your film online, and they will be, Nazi deniers? They will say, no, this was made up, this footage, what will you say to those people? Because I'm sorry to say there are a lot of people around, and I'm in France, by the way, where, there's been attacks on yeshivas and older people walking in the street, and I don't know what, there's a whole list of terrible, aggressive things that have happened to Jewish people. I mean, this is still going on here. What do you say to people who say, no, the Nazis? What do you say to Mr. Putin? Mr. Putin is, we had neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Are you kidding? Anyway, I'm fooling around with you, but on a serious note, what do you say to those people?
You know, I think I'd like to take the approach that Ella takes, and I think her approach is really profound. You know, when she saw the posts on social media from the South African influencer who denied the Holocaust, saying things like Hitler was right and other anti-Semitic rhetoric.
Right.
She approached it from a sort of position of love and understanding, and I think that's the most powerful way to approach it. Because I think it's easier said than done, but to be able to actually say to someone who has an opposing view to you, let's sit, let's grab a coffee, let's see what commonalities we share, because I'm sure that we can, if we sit down and we discuss things, we'll be able to find far more that unites us than divides us. And I think that's really a profound approach. It's a lot easier, easier said than
beautiful,
done.
But very sophisticated.
Yeah,
I would hope that people pick up on that.
But I think in saying that, it's hard to, when someone is so set on their view, sometimes there's no way to change that view, so I think also you have to sometimes pick your battles, and try and approach it in the best way possible.
That's our job, and you're helping us with that job by making this movie. It's a tremendous accomplishment, I think. Listen, let's just talk about a few other things about what she says, and Ella herself. She speaks Hebrew in the movie. She prays in Hebrew. She seems to be a devout Jew, or not. Am I wrong? I mean, she can recite the Kaddish and she does all these Jewish things. Yes. But is she fervently Jewish, or does she like have a piece of bacon once in a while?
No, it's astounding. She's kept her faith. She grew up in an extremely religious environment, and she's kept her faith through the Holocaust.
Too thin, as we say.
Yeah, exactly. And she even when I was still living in Cape Town, she was insistent on being in synagogue, and all the holy days, as difficult as it was for her, fasting on all the fast days, doing everything.
She kept it up.
Yeah, and she was incredible. You could actually hear her in the synagogue. She would actually pray even louder than everyone else in the synagogue. It was incredible to be around her. So
there's a quick scene in the movie where she finds, it's animated, but she talks about it. She finds a page from some sort of Hebrew prayer book, and she said she kept it. She kept it with her through those years, and she still has it. Did you? I wanted to see that, but did you film that page? It still exists. I assume she's telling you. Did you see it?
Yes, I did see it, and
what is it? What is it from? The Talmud or something?
It's actually from a Passover parts of a prayer book, the Haggadah.
The Haggadah.
So it's 2 pages from the Haggadah, and we actually used, if you look at the animation, you'll see that it's the animator sort of scanned it in. So we don't see Ella holding
There
it.
were some lines, but I wasn't sure that
Yes.
was actually that was actually what it is.
Yes, so he actually copied the prayer book.
You talk about, I'm waiting, by the way, I'm happy to ask questions from other people, but they're not coming in yet. So we'll just keep chatting if you don't mind.
Sure.
You talk about, I can't pronounce it very well, but the first concentration camp was Majdanek.
Majdanek, yeah.
Majdanek. Then she went to Auschwitz, and finally Bergen-Belsen was the final place. And I know you shot footage with her at Auschwitz. I think it was, she went back to visit Auschwitz, right?
Yes, so that was actually footage from her. She went with her daughter, her son-in-law, and I believe one of her grandchildren. So that was all home footage that we incorporated into the film.
Okay, so my question then is, did you go to any of these concentration camps? Did you see what they were like, and what effect did it have on you?
So not for the purposes of the filming, but I did go on a program to Poland, and I was at Auschwitz, I was at Majdanek. I did not get Bergen-Belsen was destroyed, but I spent a lot of time in Auschwitz, and it's just it's something, it's indescribable. As much as you want to show pictures and put it into the film, but just actually being there and sort of being able to walk 360 around where people suffered and see the crematorium, see the gas chambers. It's an important
tough to see.
It's an important experience, I think, for people to have in order to understand what happened.
There's one of the captions in the movie says Naomi sank. Who is that to you? Is that your mother?
That's my grandmother.
Your grandmother.
Yeah. So
she's close to Ella, I take it.
She's close to Ella.
How you got in the mix.
Yes, one of the reasons I got in the mix. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your grandmother? What was her life like?
Sure. So she's still living in Cape Town, but shame. We filmed a few years back now, but unfortunately her mental health isn't that great, unfortunately. But her and my late grandfather were very close to Ella. They used to go to the same synagogue, and they had a wonderful
and they're South Africans.
And they're born and bred South Africans.
Okay.
Yes.
And so that's how you found out about Ella, or at least were introduced to Ella.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. See, we pick up on these details. Okay. What else do I want to ask you? Well, I mean, I want to know what's going on now, and how are you going to, what is your plan? Are you going to be involved in the exhibition of the movie? Are there going to be other events like this? You do very well in these Q&As. You should do more of them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What's the plan of action?
So the film is currently currently screening in Australia as a part of the Jewish International Film Festival there, and then it's also screening now. It's actually launching in cinemas all over the States, I think from the 11th of March. So there will be a few other Q&A opportunities around the premiere of the film, and then just something else that me and the producer of the film are extremely passionate about is we believe that a large portion of this film appeals to a younger audience. People who, like you said at the beginning, might find the animation a lot more palatable and engaging to learn about the Holocaust and Ella's story. So we're busy working with the Johannesburg Holocaust and Genocide Center and the educators there to build an educational toolkit and syllabus based on our interactions we've had with
Good.
schools,
Good idea. Yeah.
so that it can be, you know, that can be sent out around the world, so that people can use it as a guide to educate. And we believe it will be extremely impactful.
I think it's got a long life after this initial distribution deal. I mean, I'm very interested to know how it works in a, you know, in a normal cinema. I think, and I again, I'm embarrassed to even say this, but I think that the current, you know, turmoil is going to, you know, attract people to this movie and the theme of this movie more than in a, you know, when everybody's having parties and going to the discotheque or whatever they do for amusement. This is a beautiful film that needs to be seen. We have a few more minutes because I know you have to go right at 12. Isn't that right? What's your next interview?
The next interview is with an organization in Atlanta called the Daffodil Project. They plant daffodils all over the world in commemoration of those that perished in the Holocaust.
Beautiful.
And yeah, we're doing another Q&A.
And are you going to be able to plug in correctly this time to Zoom?
I hope so. I've never.
Are you a Zoom veteran or are you a Zoom novice?
No, I'm a veteran. So this is actually the first time I've had this issue. So I'm terribly sorry.
I've done a lot of these events and I've never had someone keep me waiting for 13 minutes.
I'm terribly sorry.
You're
sorry
special.
about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Everything is forgiven.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a couple more things. Is there anything you want to talk about that I didn't bring up?
Yeah, I'd love to ask you, and it's something that I love asking people who watch the film is, what were your thoughts on the, you know, your thoughts and your what you picked up on sort of the meaning of the butterfly that is seen throughout the film?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the butterfly, but I forgot. The blue butterfly. I mean, it's a stroke of genius. That's all I can tell you. It's a stroke of genius or inspiration to have that, which is symbolic of life itself, life renewing, life coming back, you know, the impenetrable nature of life. And it was great, and it was very effective. It, you know, it didn't mean anything, and yet it gave you a pause, and it made you think about, well, what's the butterfly? Is that life? Is that pleasure? Is that, what is that that's, you know, flying around, fluttering around? So I think it was a great device. And I want to say also about the film itself, some of the stuff, you know, you in a film like this, it's obviously based on, you know, Q&A and full face, you know, dialogue with the person, or, you know, storytelling, whatever. But I think what was great is you intersperse that, like the swimming scene with her swimming, or even just her walking on the beach, the way you open the movie, and that she's still, you know, trucking. It's great. You know, we don't need to have every single detail of the Warsaw Ghetto, although we did get the Warsaw, and a lot, you know, a lot of people, you talk to young people today, they don't know what the hell the Warsaw Ghetto is about, or what the Nazis did, or how people, you know, they burned it down and all this stuff. I mean, you mentioned it before. People need to be reminded of this stuff because they forgot what happened last year, or you know, or Aleppo, or, you know, I myself forgot what the Russians did before, and you know, and now we see what they're capable of. But I think it works very well, and I think you're going to have a long trajectory with this movie, and so congratulations on it. And again, I copied down in my notes, you know, where Ella says, "Be kind to everyone." Okay, love everybody. Those are great messages, easy to say, but not when you're 98 years old and been through what she's been through. That's very emotional. Anyway, it got to me. Anything else before we close out? Let me just see if anybody else wants to ask any. Now everybody's going to ask all the questions right now with 5 minutes to go. Can you keep this lady from Atlanta waiting 5 minutes in case we have to? No, we're not. I'm kidding.
I'm so sorry about that.
You don't have to worry about it. You're a busy man. Well, I think we've done it. I think we got it, huh? Is some part of this that we didn't cover? I think we got the butterflies, we got the swimming, we got Ella. Ella's a wonderful person. I hope she hangs in there. I hope,
Mm.
I hope she
Yeah.
sees some of the results of this. You're going to get letters and you're going to get people who want to talk to her. And
Mm.
I hope it's a positive experience. I'm talking from her standpoint of having
Mm.
made the movie.
No,
And
definitely. And hopefully next time you come to South Africa, we can connect you guys and do an
I would
introduction.
love to do that. I'd love to come back. I played golf there with one of these producers. Beautiful golf course. Sorry to bring up golf, but you have one of the most beautiful golf courses I've ever seen, right in the middle of Cape Town. Beautiful place. Listen, I just want to ask you one more thing. Is there any way, how could I see the Afrikaner movie? Is there any way I could could we see about it?
Currently it is currently it's playing at this Afrikaans festival, and then it's going to be put onto South African sort of streaming platforms.
All
So
right.
I'm gonna have to let you know. Hopefully we're still waiting to hear from those
Well,
festivals.
I'm interested in, I don't know, maybe it's something for Cinemonde. Maybe we could give it a little boost. Okay.
We would love that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Anyway,
you.
good luck to you, Jordy. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so
We'll
much. Really
sign off,
appreciate it.
and I wish you only good luck and success.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And sorry for the wait again.
No problem. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.